Hey, Tom Zanzi. Yo, Sarah, this story is a difficult one.
Very difficult, John.
Because whenever we talk about immigration,
People become emotional immediately.
immediately,
Some people will say South Africans are frustrated,
others will say innocent people are suffering.
and the truth is,
Both conversations are happening at the same time.
guys, there's currently a humanitarian crisis unfolding in Durban.
More than 7,000 Malawian nationals are reportedly stranded and seeking emergency shelter.
7,000,
Not 70,
not 700,
7,000 people.
families,
Children,
workers.
people who suddenly found themselves with nowhere to go.
The crisis reportedly started after anti-immigrant groups issued a June 30th deadline demanding undocumented foreigners leave South Africa.
And many people became afraid.
Very afraid.
So they left their homes.
They left businesses
Some even left their belongings behind.
just to get to safety.
Now, the center of this crisis is Sherwood Hall in Durban,
Guys, imagine this.
a facility that initially had around 75 people.
Then suddenly,
Boom!
more than 7,000.
Yo.
Good afternoon, Xoli. The process for repatriation continues. In fact, right now you're looking at the fifth bus, which is currently being loaded. The first four buses have already left the premises, and we are told that the fifth and sixth bus will be loaded simultaneously. They did indicate that, of course, they're trying to ensure that the process does go faster. Of course, it's also getting a bit dark this side, so we understand that they are trying to fast track the process on this end. Now, there's quite a bit that has already come from the Malawian officials. In fact, we spoke to Biwi Marks a bit earlier on, where firstly he spoke about how it's important for more sponsors to come forward. He started off, of course, by thanking those that have come forward to assist. Of course, there's a number of NGOs on this side, but he also states that the assistance that has been given is not enough, and there's more that is needed. Of course, as you rightfully indicated, you're looking at 7,000, more than 7,000 Malawians that need to be repatriated at this particular point. So he does state that there's definitely more buses that are needed. Also stating that at this point they have 8 buses, but what he hopes for is that on a daily basis they can at least have 30 buses, and that could actually fast track the process. Home Affairs has been quite involved on this end, Xoli. There's quite a bit of work that has been taking place. I'm going to bring in now Cyril Mncwabe, who speaks for the Home Affairs in the province. And thank you very much for your time. I want to start off by talking about what is coming out of that briefing before we move on to that list. But I just want to start off by talking about what's coming out of that briefing that has just taken place. 1,140 Malawians have now been processed. We are now finding out, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, that all of them are illegal.
Good evening to your listeners and viewers. We have processed 1,307. That is the actual statistics that we have processed. So I can safely say 99.99% is illegal people. If I say 99.99%, the rest of the percentage, I'm reserving it for some of them who have got some passports that are obviously expired. They were never renewed. So that's the figure that we have processed from when we started this whole journey.
A shocking discovery, perhaps for Home Affairs, or not shocked at all?
It is really a shocking discovery, because we're still puzzled. How did this happen? But anyway, this is what we are faced with, so all we have to do is to live up to the task that is in front of us.
Just speak about, I just want to go back to the briefing that took place. We know, of course, that there's a process of verification that took place on your end where they were giving their fingerprints. And one would assume that that would also perhaps go towards law enforcement in terms of checking if there's any criminality that has been going on. Just speak to us about that and how that's going to work in order to ensure that they weren't involved in any criminality.
You see, what would probably happen, we have not yet necessarily discussed it with any other law enforcement agencies, especially the police. But there was that kind of a thinking that they might have to come to us and check with the fingerprints that we have received. But it was proving to be going to be a very difficult task to do it. But we do have that information with us, and we will be having those fingerprints at hand.
Difficult task. Were they reluctant to give their prints?
No, they've never been reluctant to give us our prints. It was part of the process. If we fill in the form, that indicates the particulars of the person that we are going to be onboarding to the buses, as well as for us to give them an order to leave from South Africa, which is a document that will enable them to be taken out of the country and be able to cross through the borders.
Let's talk about some of those documents that are quite crucial. That passport list, how crucial is it as they cross through different borders? Just speak to us about that.
Well, what they are doing basically is that we, from our side, we're processing them and issuing them with these documents that I'm talking to you about. One of the documents is an order to leave from the country. It's a basic document that is required for them to be able to be attached to this particular passport, the passport list that they develop. The passport list would have every name of the person that is on the bus, and that is now their document from the Malawi side they're going to use through the two borders that they will have to cross.
And just to go back perhaps to yesterday, what was the confusion then between, in terms of that list, that master list? What was the tension that we saw playing out?
Well, there wasn't much of a tension. It was just a minor misunderstanding, which we had to correct. But obviously it came with a sacrifice from our side, from my team, who had to work throughout the night to try and assist in terms of fixing what was there so that we could be ready for the buses as they are here today. So the issue was that initially, they were supposed to use our list to prepare their passport list so that this list should be talking to each other, so that when they go into the buses, everything is balancing according to what is required, their passport list and our list. So we discovered that there was a little bit of misunderstanding from their side, where they ended up having some people who were not necessarily in our list. But that was corrected early this morning after we had already we engaged with them, and in a cordial way we managed to resolve.
You seem to have your hands full as the Department of Home Affairs in the province of KZN. We also have more foreign nationals camped outside, of course, the Home Affairs Department. What is the decision there? Are they being taken to Lindela? What's the decision coming from Home Affairs?
I think you may remember when the JCPS ministers came down to the province, the matter was looked into and a decision was taken. The decision was that they have got only two options. The first option was that those who are willing to go back and reintegrate with their families, or where they came from before they came to be outside there, were given an option either to go back and reintegrate, or those that were saying that they're still feeling that they fear for their lives. Those people were given an option that they can be taken to our repatriation center, Lindela, in Joburg, so that their decision can be made from Lindela, which could have led to a deportation of some kind.
I've been speaking, in fact, to some of them. They're quite reluctant to reintegrate, but also quite reluctant to go to Lindela. What happens now?
Ma'am, we'll have to enforce the law. The agreement was reached. In fact, that process should have taken place earlier this week. And we then got an indication that they were pleading for us to say that they are just consolidating their thoughts and that by Monday they will be dispersing. They said we are not taking the option of going to Lindela, but they gave us an assurance that Monday they will be going out and for reintegration. So what is left now is for us to enforce the rule of law, the bylaws of the city. They are squatting on the roads, and that's a violation of certain bylaws of the city. So we'll have to try and enforce the rule of the law.
Just the last one on my end as the bus gets ready to leave. They're also under the impression that they have to be processed once again. They have already been processed the first time. Of course, you were present during that operation, but they are once again reluctant to be processed. Is that something that is going to be taking place? Are they going to be verified once again?
What has happened is that we had the first round of processing. And that first round of processing was to say what documents do they have in the country. And we would understand that some of them were still awaiting further adjudication so that the final outcome could be made. So the final outcomes have been done because the team from head office that is dealing with issues of refugees management, they came down and they started to work on these issues. So there's no more verification that is going to be taking place. A decision was done, and our understanding is that we're not having new people there. It's the same people that we had verified before, and therefore the decision was taken based on that fact.
Lastly, these buses, as it gets ready to depart, how far is South Africa going with this particular process? Where do they say we've done our part, it's time for the Malawian government to intervene? Is that actually going to happen at any point, at any border? Where does South Africa say we've done our part?
Well, ma'am, you just have to remember that the issue of the transportation of these people from Malawi is not at the present moment being done by the government of South Africa. It is the effort of the Malawi government to take its citizens back to its country in a form of repatriation. So the government of South Africa is not footing any bill on this one. So we are not involved. All we are involved in was to say we process them here, we put them into the buses, and how they get home in terms of getting to Malawi is the prerogative now of the Malawian government. And all that we are waiting for is further commitment from them to indicate that after we are done with the 8 that we are loading. This is the 5th bus that we are loading now, since this morning. So there's still 3 more that we still have to load. And once we have loaded that, we're going back to the representative. Remember, there's Consular General that is here. He is actually taking care of the process. He will then have to tell us what is it that they are going to be doing, what is the next step and the next phase. But I'm sure they will be telling us something positive.
Thank you very much for your time. That's the provincial manager in the province of KZN. And maybe just to explain, Goli, in terms of what's set to happen, we're told that these buses will not be stopping at any point. In fact, we were told that the only time they would be stopping is for a bathroom break. They are fully equipped with all the necessities that are needed. You're looking at food, you're looking at water. We're told that there is provision that is going to be made for pregnant women, and of course we have seen quite a few of them, so they have indicated that there is going to be provision that is made there. But in terms of food, in terms of other necessities and fuel, all that has been taken care of rather. We are told that the buses are going all the way, and as you can see, they are ready to depart.
Sletiwe Ndlovu, thank you very much, covering this story for us from all angles. You've heard her on the questions around the possible criminality that could or may have been involved by some of the people that are being repatriated. You've heard that response. We're going to put it later on to the minister that is leading the Interministerial Committee on Migration. She's going to be joining us later this evening. You also heard her talk about the situation outside the Che Guevara offices of the Home Affairs. And remember those 400 plus. They've been camped there saying they can't reintegrate. They fear for their lives. Well, today it appears that there has been quite a
Yes, as you have said, that 8 buses left yesterday heading to Malawi. Today, there's only just 1 bus so far, but we have been told that another 2 buses will be coming to take the people that have been processed, and they are expecting more buses later on today. But if the buses come in the evening, the next batch of Malawians will leave South Africa, or they will board the bus tomorrow morning. They said that it's preferable that everything is done during broad daylight so that they can be able to travel safely. As you can see behind me, they are being processed. They don't just get into the bus, Mfundo. They have a list. They have a list of the South African list that has been processed, that was done during the course of the week last year. So what happens is that everyone that is here, whether you're a Malawian, whether you're Nigerian, irrespective of where you come from, the South African government will process you, and it will be up to the designated officials, and in this case it's the Malawian officials that will have to double check whether or not they are taking or processing citizens of Malawi. On Saturday when we were here in Mfundo, they couldn't, the buses were already here waiting, ready to hit the road, but unfortunately, because the list did not correspond with both lists, the Malawian list and the South African list did not correspond, so they had to halt the process of repatriation. That's why 8 buses are left yesterday. So currently they are here, they are being processed, they are getting into the bus according to the list, and before the bus departs today, the authorities will have to check the driver's license of the driver, double check that everything in the bus is in order, and they will have to again check the list of people that has boarded the bus. They said that it is women and children. However, heavily pregnant women are not allowed to enter the bus or to travel. Like we saw on Saturday, there were a couple or several heavily pregnant women, and apparently some of them were taken on the day to our public hospitals, and they gave birth on Saturday. Some of them gave birth yesterday. We have spoken to Malawian officials, and they said that some of them even gave birth here while they were still waiting. So you can see how dire the situation is, Mfundo. People are just waiting. They're ready to head back home.
You don't need to be an engineer to know that place is going to struggle.
Exactly.
People are reportedly sleeping outside.
Others are squeezed into temporary shelters.
There's shortages of toilets,
Shortages of clean water.
shortages of basic necessities.
And relief organizations are trying to keep things together.
Now here's where things become complicated.
Because some people are asking,
Why don't they just go home?
simple question.
But the answer is not simple.
Exactly.
The Malawian government has been trying to repatriate people.
But they don't have enough transport.
Apparently, they initially sent 8 buses.
8 buses for thousands of people.
Yoch.
The numbers don't work.
Officials are saying they need hundreds and hundreds more buses.
And while all of this is happening,
There are also disagreements over passenger lists and verification processes,
bureaucracy,
paperwork,
administration.
while people are sleeping outside.
Now, guys, let's be honest.
Let's be very honest.
South Africans have legitimate concerns about immigration.
Absolutely.
Nobody can deny that.
People worry about jobs,
Crime,
services.
and whether immigration laws are being enforced properly.
Those are legitimate discussions.
But,
There's another side.
exactly,
Because no matter how frustrated people become,
nobody wants to see children sleeping outside.
nobody wants to see people starving.
Nobody wants violence.
That's where things become difficult.
You know what amazes me, Sarah?
What?
South Africa only discovers a crisis after 7,000 people arrive.
Always.
Never at 100,
Never at 200.
not even 1,000.
Not even when people are basically camping on top of each other.
Then suddenly everybody says,
Yo, guys, we have a situation.
exactly.
But jokes aside,
This is a serious warning.
because if immigration issues are ignored for years,
Eventually, they explode.
And then everybody suffers.
South Africans suffer,
Migrants suffer.
communities suffer,
Government must have clear policies.
and enforce them consistently,
For now, thousands of Malawians remain stranded,
waiting for transport,
waiting for answers.
waiting for governments on both sides to resolve the situation,
Let's hope a solution comes quickly.
because nobody should be stuck in limbo like this. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Do you think South Africa is handling immigration correctly?
And what should happen next in Durban?
Tell us in the comments.
This is SA Political Lens.
Same lens,
No fear.
no favors.